The 21st century consists of complex technology that continues to evolve. Such technology includes anything from iPads, iPhones to laptops. The current generation of children growing up with such technology have adapted to it rapidly, putting them at risk for developmental difficulties. If we fail to limit our children's use of mobile devices and computers, their chance of mentally and physically developing efficiently will be eliminated. As technology prospers, children become hungrier to try out its new functions. They are quick to master it and continue to crave it. In an article, Is Technology Good for Little Kids?, author Marjorie D. Rosen states that a recent study conducted by the Kaiser Family Foundation found that school-age kids spend on an average 7.5 hours in front of a television, computer, a smartphone, or any other digital device. During those 7 hours, kids could have been studying, engaging in physical activity, or simply interacting with their family members. The 7 hours those kids spent on giving their attention to technology causes them to miss out on valuable opportunities. Technology is what causes children to devote the majority of their time that should be open for activities that will be beneficial to their healthy growth and development. If their extensive use of technology continues, they will lose sight of what's important. Technology is the main predatory aspect of society in which stunts the development of a child. In the article, My First iPhone, Why Technology is Good for Kids, written by Julie Tolberg, she lets readers know her viewpoint on technology. Tolberg believes that technology, in terms of computers and mobile devices, has positively impacted her child. She sees no harm of a child using technology for long hours at a time. Tolberg states that computers have provided her child with an education, teaching him skills varying from reading to keyboarding. Indeed, today's education revolves around computers and is a requirement, but what is overlooked is the overuse of it for purposes other than education. Tolberg stated the following at the beginning of her article: "Our first attempt at homework in primary school was a farce. Harrison had limited attention span, a type of hyperactivity. He simply couldn't sit still. As a tiny tot, Harrison was fascinated with computers. By the time he was 3 years old, I couldn't get him away from the screen. Why couldn't he sit still with me, but was glued to the computer screen? I'm talking about 3 hours before tearing him away." In response to her quote, a point at which a child becomes glued to any electronic device immediately poses as a potential threat. Using technology such as computers for education is acceptable, but using it for games constantly is where concerns should be erupting, especially for a child unaware of how to limit him or herself. Extensive use of electronic devices for long hours on end is what causes children to lose sight of their valuable education and responsibilities. According to an article written by Daily Mail News, a 4-year-old girl in Britain is currently suffering from iPad addiction. She is the youngest iPad addict among others in Britain. She currently displays compulsive behavior with the device after using the tablet at an early age. She also experiences withdrawal symptoms when it is taken away. The girl's psychiatrist, Dr. Richard Graham, stated that if she is not treated soon, the problem will persist, and by age 11, her condition will become so severe that inpatient care will be required. After news of Britain's youngest iPad addict, a poll showed that more than half of parents allow their babies to use a smartphone or tablet for 4 or more hours a day. The poll revealed that 81% of parents worry their children spend too long on gadgets. 50% of parents admit to buying children their own designated digital device. According to Chris Rowan, author of the article, The Impact of Technology on the Developing Child, the impact of rapidly advancing technology on the developing child has seen an increase of physical, psychological, and behavior disorders that the health and education systems are just beginning to detect. Learning difficulties, anxiety, depression, and sleep disorders are all associated with technology overuse and are continuously increasing. The problem is not technology itself. Whether we like it or not, it exists in our everyday lives. Education is now based on online learning and does in fact provide individuals with a steady education. The main concern is the overuse of technology and the extensive amount spent on it by children. Allowing children to continue with internet activity for more than 2 hours can stunt their overall growth. They will become isolated and develop inadequately, both mentally and physically. Being on the internet for long hours deprives children of the physical activity that they need. So take initiative and prevent your child from suffering from developmental issues. There was once a time where children played outside all day. Whether they were riding bikes or playing sports, they were physically connected. Nowadays, the generation has replaced valuable physical activity with technology. However, this period can always be shifted by taking a single step of action. That is, limit the amount of time your child spends on technology per week. Doing this will only open a variety of doors for you and your child. Set aside only 30 minutes for game time use on a device per week. If your child refuses to give up the mobile device in which they've been glued to for an extended amount of time, suggest having them resort to physical activity. As a parent, take them out to the park frequently so they can enjoy various physical activities. Initiating this will make it easier for your child to adapt to being stripped of their technology privileges. Getting involved in your child's life will benefit how they view extracurricular activities and will help them resort to activities other than electronics. This will allow them to become more mentally present in your interactions with them. Children will be able to develop better social and communication skills with the absence of technology.